Hello everybody, my name is Peter Barnes. I run a wedding photography company out of Nebraska called Intrepid Visuals Wedding Photography, and today I'm going to be showing you inside my camera bag with all of the equipment that I take to shoot a wedding. So, I don't want to waste any time, there's a lot of stuff to go through, so let's just go right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the actual bag that I put everything in. So, I use a Thinktank Airport Essentials backpack, and I love this bag so much for a few reasons. One, it's really, really durable. It's portable. It fits under the seat in an airplane, which is awesome when I'm traveling. And I can wear it on my back if I need to. I don't do that very often just because it's super heavy when it's all filled up. It's just a really, really nice and easy way for me to get all of my gear to the shoot in the first place. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I want to start with are the cameras that I use. So I use the Fujifilm X-T3 to shoot all of my weddings. Now, I have two of these, but the second one is filming me right now, so unfortunately I can't show the second one, but it's the same as this one. I could spend so much time talking about why I love this camera for wedding photography, but I'll sum it up very briefly. It's fast, it's accurate, the colors out of the camera are beautiful, and the lenses are very small, very compact for the most part, and super sharp. I've been shooting on Fuji for the last couple of years. I started with the X-T2, went to the X-H1, and then upgraded all of them to the X-T3, and I have not had any regrets since that. Let's go through lenses really quickly. So, probably the lens that I use the most on a wedding would be the Fuji 23 1.4. This is your 35mm equivalent in full frame, and it's a lens that's probably on one of my X-T3s for probably the entire day. I could honestly probably shoot with just this one lens and do okay. Now obviously I have two bodies, so I don't, but it's a beautiful all-purpose focal length. I can get close, I can get far, I can shoot details with it. If I don't know what I'm getting myself into, I'm probably gonna rock the 35, and it's pretty beat up, so I use it a ton. The next lens that I use in tandem with the 23 1.4 is the Fuji 56 1.2. This is your 85mm equivalent in full frame. Now, this lens is the perfect complement to the 23 because it gives me the telephoto range that I'm missing with the 23. And with these two lenses on both of my bodies, I can get just about any shot that I need on a wedding, and for that reason this lens is also practically glued to one of my cameras for most of the day. With these two lenses I can create the shots that I want to create. A couple more primes that I use a little bit more. This is the Fuji 16 1.4. This is your 24mm equivalent. I use this primarily for like full room shots at a reception, or what I use it mostly for now are dance floor photos. So we get to the reception, all the dances are done, and it opens up to open dance floor. I will drop down to just one camera body with this lens and a flash and just light drag the night away. But that's really all I use this lens for. The next lens is the Fuji 80mm macro. This is a 120mm equivalent in full frame. It's an f2.8, but it's a 1:1 macro lens. Now, I debated buying this lens for a long time because I didn't want a lens that I was just gonna use for one thing, which was ring shots, basically. But it has so many more uses than that. I use this for portraits, obviously detail photos, but also this is sort of my backup lens in case I'm ever shooting a ceremony that is just too long for me to get with the 56. So this gives me that extra reach in case I need it. Now, generally I don't, but I have it with me. Also, it is stabilized. So I actually use this lens for video shooting. Now, that isn't weddings, but I use this lens to shoot video quite often. You can create some really, really beautiful sequences with this lens. The fifth lens that I take I don't use really hardly ever on weddings, and it's sad because I love it so much. But it is the Mitakon 35 f/0.95. Now, this lens is gorgeous. It's a 50mm equivalent. It's beautiful. It has so much character, but it's manual focus. Now, on Fuji, you have beautiful focus peaking and a ton of amazing focus assist features. So getting accurate focus isn't really the problem with this, but the problem that I run into is there are so many times during a wedding where I have my camera in one hand and I have something else in the other hand. Maybe I'm holding myself onto a moving golf cart, or I'm walking with the bride's bouquet or something. And during that time, I might see something happen. I need to be able to turn and shoot that moment. And unfortunately, with this lens, I can't really operate with just one hand. So I bring it, but I honestly don't use it very often. I'll use it for slower weddings. I use it on engagement sessions all the time, but I still bring it just in case I do find myself in a place where it would make sense to use. The last lens that I bring is actually filming me right now. It's the Fuji 16-55 f2.8. This is your 24-70 equivalent and full frame. It's just a backup. I don't really ever bring it out on a wedding day, but I bring it because it can basically do the job 80% of the way for most of these primes that I bring in my bag. So with one lens, I can have the assurance that if any of these lenses were to go down, I'm covered, I can still shoot the day. So that is most of the camera stuff out of the way. Let's talk about accessories. So the first thing I want to talk about is the flash that I use. Now this is the Nissin i60A. I love this flash because it's actually quite tiny, and it fits on the Fuji bodies really well. I'll show you right here. When I put this on the Fuji camera, it's actually not too oversized. And I find with a lot of speed lights, it gets really top heavy because of just how massive the speed light is. What's great, it's a small speed light, but it's still so powerful. It's just about as powerful as the Yongnuo 560s I was using before I switched to Fuji. So I love everything about that. Next, this is the Fuji Instax Share SP2. This single piece of equipment has changed my photography business. And here's why. I am a very huge believer that print is the best way to look at photographs. And I include wedding albums in all of my photography collections, but this piece of equipment lets me go one step further. What I'm able to do with this printer and these Fuji cameras is they can actually talk to each other. And at a reception, I can actually print out Polaroids directly from the back of the camera. Now this is incredible because it means that in like 30 minutes, I can create 30 or 40 Polaroids and give them to the couple the day of their wedding. And that is such a game changer. And it's something that not a lot of people are doing, and it leaves such an amazing impression. And more than anything, it just gives you the chance to give your couple something. You know, if it takes you 2 months to get them their photos, this way you can give them something immediate, and it has so much more impact than just a few digital photos the next day. So that has been absolutely huge. Up here in the top of the bag, I have a few things, not a whole lot. In this pouch, I have another Thinktank bag that holds a few Fuji batteries. Now what you'll notice is absent in my bag are battery chargers. And that's because I actually don't bring any battery chargers on a wedding. And the reason for that is I have 4 batteries in here, and then each of the X-T3s has a single battery. And I found that the battery life with the way that I shoot is actually good enough to get me through a day. And honestly, I can go through a wedding and only go through 1 battery on each camera. One of the problems with online camera reviews, or camera specs I should say, is they all have what's called a SEPA rating. It's a rating for how long your batteries should theoretically last. And the X-T3 is somewhere around 350 shots, which on paper sounds really bad, but you guys, I frequently surpass 1,000, 1,500 shots per camera on a single battery. It is so much better than advertised. I'm going to have a video soon that talks about some of the ways you can maximize the battery life that have helped me achieve that. So I just bring an extra 4 batteries and I am good to go for the entire day, and I know that confidently. Actually, on the side of the back, I'll talk about this really quick. On the side, I actually keep this. Now, this is a 26,000 milliamp hour power bank. And basically, this just gives me all of the USB power I could possibly need. And this goes along with this top pouch here. In this top pouch, I have a few cables. Now, I have a cable that is a mini USB cable. I bring this specifically because there are a lot of times in like a getting ready situation where the music is being played through a Bluetooth speaker. And something about Bluetooth speakers and weddings, the Bluetooth speaker is inevitably almost dead all the time. So this means I can bring this, and boom, we've got music and there's no awkward silence. The second thing I bring too is a USB-C cable. Now the X-T3 is actually chargeable via USB, which means if I were in a situation where maybe I forgot to charge these batteries, I could actually power the camera with this USB battery bank. Now I've never had to do that, but I keep it just as a safety in case I did have to do that. In the front pocket of the bag here, I'll sometimes bring my laptop. Let's say I have a second photographer with me and I want to dump all of their photos onto my computer. I'll bring my computer and a hard drive, but I generally don't need to do that. And in this pouch here, I keep a Pelican memory card case. Now, the typical procedure for me as second photographers is I will bring the memory cards and then I will take them at the end of the night. So I just keep them all in here and they're all safe. And I know where this thing is at all times. Usually on a wedding, I will have this physically on my person. So that way I know that the memory cards are on me at all times. Because if any of this gets lost, I can replace it. But if this gets lost, that is a huge problem. So, whoo, just dropped it, nice. Put that back in there. Okay, there's one more thing I wanna show you. That is this side here. These two sections contain my 2 HoldFast gear straps. Let's start with this guy, the big boy. This is the HoldFast Gear Moneymaker. Now, I have the American Bison version, and I cannot say enough good things about HoldFast gear, and specifically this product. Now, obviously I shoot with 2 cameras, and shooting with 2 cameras can be a bit of a struggle, figuring out how to manage them and keep them both on you. And I found that with the Moneymaker, it's been the most convenient, but also just the most stylish. Let's be real, these things look dope. And like I wear a sport coat on weddings, and this just looks so good on it. And it keeps the cameras really close to me. It means that at any point I have one and I have the other. So absolutely love this. I've used this for such a long time, ever since I've been shooting weddings. Now, this is the second HoldFast strap that I use for weddings. It's pretty recent, but this is actually the Moneymaker Solo. And it's basically just a cross-body version of the Moneymaker. Now, there are already a lot of cross-body straps on the market, but what I like about the Moneymaker Solo is it uses the same attachment mechanism as the Moneymaker, which is honestly more of just a reflex thing. It's something that I know in my head and in my muscle memory so well that this is just easier for me to use than like a Black Rapid or something else. So, and also it kind of keeps with the aesthetic. It's still leather, and it's just gorgeous and it feels really good. So what'll happen is at a reception, once the dances have concluded, I'll generally drop down to 1 camera body with this lens on it, right? And I'll put the camera onto this strap and then put the Moneymaker Dual away. Just because I find having 1 camera body on the Moneymaker can be a little awkward with the other side kind of just dangling. So this just is a little more comfortable for me. Sometimes if I'm in a getting ready situation, I might bring this out if I'm really doing a lot of stuff. with both my hands, but generally I'm pretty hands-free. Guys, so that is everything that I bring with me to shoot a wedding. It's very simple, and again, I love that it all fits in this one tiny compact bag because I can grab this one bag and be good to go. So please let me know if you have any questions. I would love to talk to you about anything. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.